Good morning, John. I am going to read to you my letter to 15-year-old you. And yes, I did just hold up my bank statement acting like it was a letter. It's not, it's a bank statement. Actually, it's an important update regarding my overdraft coverage. But before I read to you my important update regarding my overdraft coverage, I wanted to tell you a quick story. Okay, last week I thought that I had a super clever thought. I was reading Vlogbrothers comments and someone made a reference to nerds dying virgins, which is not an uncommon statement among the troll population. And I just wanted to respond and say that actually I would argue that most nerds die, and I didn't know what word to use there. At first I thought deflowered. Most nerds die deflowered. Well, I think that may be technically true depending on your perspective. It's kind of the word has a negative connotation. Like synonyms for deflower include like corrupt and sully and dirtify. Probably just dirty. Dirty is a verb as well as an adjective. And so I was thinking to myself, there is really no word for the opposite of virgin. And then I thought to myself, there should be a word for that. There should be a word for when there isn't a word for something. And I love self-referential stuff like that, so I thought it was super clever, so I tweeted a question to the world. What's the word for when there should be a word for something, but there isn't? And I did not think I was asking a serious question. I just thought that I was making a funny statement. But then, because nerdfighters are nerdfighters and nerdfighters know this stuff, two very quick tweets came in from R. Lunny and Heather Kluss, informing me that there is in fact a phrase for that, not quite a word, but it's called a lexical gap. And there are lots of lexical gaps in lots of different languages. For example, in Romanian, there's no word for shallow. And so when you're translating into Romanian, you have to call it not so deep. English also has interesting lexical gaps, like the fact that we have no plural for the word you, which is a big one, and it results in us having to invent words like y'all and yous guys. And so I very excitedly at-replied both of those people, though slightly disappointed that it was not a full word. Then Victoria tweeted saying a lexical gap or a lacuna, and I was like, a lacuna? And so I looked up lacuna, and lacuna means a lot of things, but if you're a linguist, a lacuna is when there is no word for something that there should be a word for. So yes, there should be a word for when there should be a word for something, and there is a word for when there should be a word for something, and that word is lacuna. But if you're not talking to a linguist and you want to be more specific, you should probably use the phrase lexical gap. That is the end of my story, and now I'm going to read to you my letter to 15-year-old John. So John, you're 15, and like most 15-year-olds, you feel like when you're forced in school to do math and science and laboratory experiments, you're sort of being tortured. But here's what science does for us 15-year-old John. It helps us understand what to think about, and it gives us a framework for how to think about those things. The funny thing is, 15-year-old John, when you're 33, you're going to write a video letter to 15-year-old me saying those exact same things about critical reading. And guess what? You'll be right, because 15 and 33-year-old John, there are lots of ways to arrive at a place where you can choose what to think about and you know how to think about those things well. For you, it was reading complicated books critically. For me, it's statistics and population dynamics and evolutionary theory. But the truth of the matter is, to live a good life as a good person, it doesn't matter how you got there. It just matters that you do. Also, dump your girlfriend. I don't know who your girlfriend is, I don't know how much you like her, but dump her right now, because John, in the future, you are going to feel much, much better about yourself if there is one girlfriend in your past that you managed to dump before she dumped you. Good luck with that, 15-year-old John. 33-year-old John, I will see you on Friday.